Lightweight, step to the side when we coming. Feel it in your chest, the syllables get pumping. People on the street get panic and start running. Words on loose leaf sheet, complete coming. I jump on my mind, I summon the rhyme, I'm dumping. Healing the blind, I promise to let the sun in. Sick of the dark ways, we march to the drumming. Jump when they tell us that they wanna see jumping. Dad, I wanna see some fist pumping. List something, take back what's yours. Say something that you know they might attack you for. Cause I'm sick of being treated like I had before. Like a stupid standing for what I'm standing for. Like this war's really just a different brand of war. Like it doesn't cater to rich and a fan of...
All right, welcome to Wide Awake Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath. It is the 9th of February, Wednesday. Dex is joining us tonight. Tomorrow night we're going to have Dimcat on. And Friday night we're going to have Eric Lovely joining us for the program. So I called Dex today and I asked him, with all this recent action in the precious metals, maybe he wanted to come on and explain it why. As I was calling him, he posted a video explaining exactly what was going on. So I'll at the break, I'll dump his video into the chat room. So if you haven't checked that out, do so after the show. It's about 13 minutes long, but hopefully we can get a lot of information from here in a few minutes. I wanted to cover two quick things. The first one is there was a lot of excitement last night generated by the defeat of 3 parts of the Patriot Act, and I didn't really want to comment on it because I hadn't read up on what exactly has happened and what that's going to mean for this liberty-killing piece of legislation that was thrust onto us under the guise of protection at a time when the nation was terrified and was very malleable. I mean, and if you look at how things have happened in this country in the last decade, that's exactly how these giant pieces of liberty-stealing legislation occur. You terrify the populace, you tell them you have a solution, you offer them security, and at the same time you strip them of liberty. What got defeated last night, although it was I guess a feather in the cap of some of the Tea Party members who went to Congress, it's not meaningful whatsoever, and let me explain why. I dumped a story into the chat room before the program began, and basically what happened last night in about 30 days is going to be rectified. The powers that be will get their Patriot Act reinstituted for another extended period of time. Now, the president would like to see it extended out through 2013, and the Congress is saying they will extend it for the next 10 months to give them further time to review. The Republicans come right out and say they want to make this thing not only extend it, but make it permanent. The 3 provisions that were voted down last night were the roving wiretaps, the tracking of lone wolf terrorists who are not affiliated with any kind of radical group. They're lone wolves, so these guys can be tracked under the Patriot Act, and the seizure of personal and business records. These elements were cause for people to vote against it, some congressmen to vote against it, mainly Democrats and a few Tea Party Republicans. However, this will be put back on the floor next month and will be voted on. And, last night's vote, because it was controversial legislation, required a supermajority vote. Okay, when it comes to the floor again, it will not require a supermajority vote. It will be a simple majority. If everybody votes the exact same way that they voted yesterday on this, well, guess what? And they will. They absolutely will. The Patriot Act will be alive and well, meaning that your liberties are still usurped and you do not gain any of them back by this vote. I find it not more than a few hours later, it hits the wires. I find it very ironic that shortly after this came out, it started hitting a lot of the aggregate news sites that Janet Napolitano, Big Sis, is out warning of a severe, the highest terrorist alert or level of activity since 9/11. The country is on the verge of attack, basically, according to Big Sis. And I found it very ironic that, this information comes out directly after a no vote, knowing very well, full well, in the political wrangling that goes on, that there's another vote coming up. So, and of course, in this article, which I also dumped into the room, They focus on domestic terror and the internet. This is what's going to get America. This is where we have to extend the Patriot Act. This is why we have to turn citizen against citizen, because the threat no more is coming from the Middle East. You know, they're too busy starving to death and rioting in their streets. They're too busy trying to live. They don't have time to come attack us anymore. Now the threat is coming from within. So progression of destruction and degradation of your liberties continues. I know it was good news last night, and I was excited when I saw it, but when I read into it, it turned out to be one more false hope, one more piece of propaganda that, you know, in this case, the Tea Party was out there talking about. Okay, in other news today, and I'll be brief because I want to get Dex on here as quick as I can. Ben Bernanke came out and said that we are going to have high unemployment levels for an extended period of time. In fact, it's going to take years for the unemployment level to return to normal. I want to point something out right now. We've been over 9% unemployment longer than any period of time in this country since 1948. That's the end since the end of World War II, we've not experienced an unemployment situation as horrible as we have in this country right now. Yet I still get, on the video I posted last night, I got comments of people saying that this community is dead wrong. You guys have been saying all this stuff since 2008. Things are getting better. Look at the stock market. Just give it up. I mean, we're on the road to recovery. The propaganda machine is non-stop with this. Things are getting better because Dow Jones 12,000. Maybe, there is some people making money. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But the people who are living out here, the middle America, Main Street, they're slowly dying on the vine, and nobody's noticing. I mean, it's a very, very small group, this alternative media group. We're screaming from the rooftops. Look, 1948 is the last time we had to go back, but since we've had this kind of extended unemployment in this country. Ben Bernanke just opened the floodgates and it flooded this tsunami of money into this economy in order to boost asset prices of his friends on Wall Street. This is what has been done over the last 2 years since almost 3 years since the 2008 collapse. It isn't getting better for anybody in this country. In fact, Dylan Radigan's video that Warren alluded to on Monday points out exactly what's happening. People are dying because of this legislation, because of this usurpation of our financial freedom. People are dying around the world. Egypt's experiencing 80% of their income to pay for food. That's a direct result of Ben Bernanke's criminal activity. I mean, there is no mystery to this. There's only truth, and then there's propaganda. You believe one or the other. If you want to stick your head in the sand and believe propaganda, I urge you to, not listen to programs like this, not watch my channel on YouTube, don't watch Deck's channel, because you're going to get the truth, and if the truth is terrifying to you, if you think you're making all kinds of money by investing a few fiat dollars into a stock market that's up to the same levels it was in the year 2000, then go for it. Let us sit here with our tinfoil hats on. Let us prepare. Let us buy what we think is important to secure our financial future, and you go do your thing. And better yet, pick up the phone and call 877-342-6673 and enlighten us all on how the economy is getting better. I mean, I have no problem with intelligent debate. But if you want to just let reality go by the wayside and enjoy your fantasy world, then do it by yourself. We have enough problems we're trying to deal with. We're trying to sort out the fact from fiction. We're trying to look at the future that we face ourselves and our children and our children's children face. We're trying to figure out what the world's going to do when it's no longer viable to feed every person on this planet, because no matter how much money we make, we can't afford to buy the stuff that's being grown. Dex, are you with me?
I am here. Nice rant, my man. Nice rant.
I'm prepping, trying to get some silver knowledge in my head before you come on. I always got to do my homework before you and Warren come on, because it's, you guys know your stuff. I don't want to sound foolish, but I'm reading these comments coming in, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Who believes we're at 9% unemployment? How do we have 36,000 jobs created in the month of January, and we have the largest decrease in the unemployment rate since 1958? Biggest 2-month rate drop since 1958. Who on earth believes this?
Honestly, I think no one believes it, but they're not really saying anything. They just kind of keep laughing, quietly after they speak and come out with the reports. But the truth of the matter is, things are going according to plan. The exact way that they want them to go, and that's just it. Everything is under consolidation at this point. Jobs have been consolidated. Banks have been consolidated. Now they want to consolidate the exchanges. It was someone on your show not too long ago that talked about the consolidation of the exchanges and how everything has become a global market and everything's connected electronically. There was some smart guy on your show. The name escapes me.
I think I remember that guy. He wears a puffy down coat, stands in an alley, has a giant fro, and never takes his sunglasses off. I remember that guy.
That's the guy. There you go. See, I just couldn't remember the name, but yeah, that's the dude. That's the one I'm talking about. So everything is being played out now, isn't it?
Yeah, for those who are listening.
It was crazy when I said that, but here we are. Also, when I talked about how they're, hiring, the young kids out of the Ivy League schools to do the programming for them, and how they were creating a back door so that they could, crash markets, rally markets with the push of a button, with or without the help of the Federal Reserve. Everyone laughed at that. And now it just came out this week that they're reporting that someone hacked into the NASDAQ. See, that's the false flag they create. So then after they collapse the market, they can roll in whatever new legislation they want. Because they've already told you ahead of time the boogeyman is in the room. Then when they unleash the boogeyman and create a financial false flag like we had with the May flash crash of last year, then they've already put it out there, so now it's easy to pass the legislation that they want. So they will get not only those renewed provisions in the Patriot Act, but they're going to get some new ones with it. So that's really not a big deal for them. When they're ready to push it,
Dex, that's why we've seen this full court press on how the internet is evil and how the internet is the new breeding ground, the new cesspool where terrorism is growing from. We've seen that mantra now for months and months, because and then it culminates in what? We have this NASDAQ attack. So, for those of us in this community, Dex, I think it's easy to see the game plan unfolding. I mean, just, you listen to what's rattling around, the talking points of the week or the month or the quarter, and then, you can almost guarantee that you're going to see some kind of outcome that fits the prediction. And that's why when I saw that Patriot Act repeal almost, it was the words going around yesterday about it, but being voted down, once I read the truth to that, it was a meaningless vote. They're going to vote on it again, and a simple majority is going to pass this thing, and it will probably be extended until at least next year, if not further. And if the Republican gets their way, it'll be permanent. It will be an absolute, we will be a Stasi state. It'll be like East Germany before the wall fell. But looking at the passage or the failure of that, and then seeing Napolitano come out and talk about the biggest threat is homegrown, the biggest threat is internet. What are I don't want to get you too far out of the economic spectrum. I know you like to focus on economics, but I'm trying to think, what is the agenda? What is the purpose here? We're seeing what happens when the people push back too far. Governments like the tyrannical government in Egypt just shuts down the internet. If that happens here, first of all, I don't think it can happen here because commerce would come to an absolute standstill. But what is the reasoning? I mean, is it sharing of knowledge? Is alternative media? Here's the deal. I spent 13 minutes after I hung up the phone with you at work. Hope my boss isn't listening. At work, watching your latest video. And in doing so, I realized something because it's been a while since I've been able to sit there and concentrate on an entire 13, 15 minute pulsescan 72 video. And listening to you talk, showing me your dad is up there on the screen and just your voice in the background, I realized that I get more information from your 13-minute video, and there's more intelligence involved in analyzing what's going on in the markets than, and I'm not talking, there's no conspiracy or no alter agenda when you're making a video whatsoever. It's just the straight facts. You're looking at the highs and the lows and the Kumo cloud and the trend lines and yada yada, but it is better knowledge than I can get from 2 weeks of mainstream business so-called news. Is this dangerous, and is this why information that you put out there, that I put out there, Dimcad, Warren, these guys putting out truth, is this dangerous to them, and is that why we're seeing this this focus on the Internet as being the breeding ground for the next big 9/11?
Yes, you hit the nail right on the head, Charlie, and thank you for that. I do try to, stick to the facts in the videos. But here's the thing. They're not worried. They're not going to shut down the Internet. That's not what they're looking to do, okay? What they're looking to do is shut us down, people who speak the truth. That's what they want to shut down, not the Internet. Just your access to certain information on the Internet. You got to read between the lines. The Internet is too integrated into our society. So to shut it off would, like you said, shut down commerce. And that in and of itself, shutting off the Internet would actually really destroy not just the economy, but that in and of itself would put what's the word I'm looking for? That would be a security threat. How about that? A national security threat to shut down the Internet. It would be analogous to turn off the electrical power. So they're not going to do that. There are too many things that rely on the Internet. So that they can't and won't do that. What they will do is just shut down people who they believe are troublemakers or causing trouble for their agenda. They'll just shut them down. And that is what they're looking to do. They want to censor people. And they're going to make it very easy to do that coming up. It's a lot easier than what you think. They can easily do that. They can do it now even without the passage of a bill. And they can throw it under the Patriot Act. All you have to do is say the word terrorist, and automatically all of your rights as an American citizen go out the window. Okay, so that's the hard truth. Also, there are a lot of other hard truths that are out there. I like to stick to the facts, but we can't help but to deal with things as they're put on our doorstep. Another thing that we need to deal with is this whole precious metals conspiracy. All right, can't avoid it. We have to deal with it. We have to talk about it. There's been a lot of chatter, not just on the Internet, but on radio shows, talk shows, whatever, talking about the manipulation in the precious metals and how certain individuals are looking to corner the market and how they're running out of coins, and you can't get Canadian maple leaves, you can't get this, you can't get that. And then they're talking about, the options of expiration and people rushing to try to take delivery, all types of this talk out there. And then to top it all off, we have the Crush J.P. Morgan campaign. I've already discussed that, and I just want to bring it back again and say that the Crush J.P. Morgan campaign has failed utterly. All it did was allow them to get out of their short positions and create long positions. Okay? That's what they've done. They're now heavy on the long side. And not just them, but every major, and I repeat this and say it slowly, every major financial institution on the planet now are getting together not to corner the precious metal market, but to push it to its limits. All right? Let that sink in for a moment. Everything that has been put over the Internet is about to be turned on its head. There is no conspiracy to crash the precious metals market. It's always been quite the opposite. They want the precious metals markets to become unattainable for the average citizen. They don't need to pass laws to make it illegal for you to hold it. All they need to do is push it and max it out so that you can't afford it. That's why they raise the margins on the futures contracts so that the average person wouldn't be able to profit on what they're about to do. They always announce it in so many ways before they begin a major operation. It was announced back in 2007 when the powers that be were going to start operating in the crude oil market. And that's exactly what they did. Now, they're going and they're planning to operate in precious metals. Okay? They've already begun the process.
Hold on one sec, Dex. We're gonna take our one and only break. I definitely want to get more into that. We had Gabe on last night saying a lot of the same things, and I want to get your take on how high and how far and how fast. So 877-342-6673. We'll take calls in the second half. If somebody's got a question for Dex, now it's time to get on the phones, and I'll look at questions during the break. We'll be right back with PulseScan 72 Dex and more Wide Awake Radio right after this. All right, welcome back to Wide Awake Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. I'd like to invite anybody listening who's not in the chat room to go to wideawakenews.com, click on Wide Awake Radio, and you will be right there in the chat room with about 100 other folks. And I'll try to pull questions out of there for the rest of the hour. I did write down a few. Backwardation, Dex, and I want you to get back into the silver, what's happening and where it's going. You know, gold as well, but obviously, you know, a lot of us are focused on silver because it has the biggest upside potential, doubling, tripling, quadrupling. But backwardation, that came up last night. If you want to explain what that is and what it means, then please do. I'm going to take one of these questions. It was about, or maybe it was more of a comment, about copper going up, 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 and it is going way up. I live in an area that I grew up in a copper mining town, so I'm very aware to the moves in copper, and it's ridiculously high right now. But they spoke to the fact that people will start stealing wiring out of house. I'm telling you right now, that's already a phenomenon happening around the country. It's called urban mining, and what people do is they go in and these are foreclosed homes or homes that are built and not sold. They go in and they strip them clean. If there's wiring in the wall, they rip it out. At $4 a pound, you can rack up several hundred, if not $1,000 or more dollars. If it has copper plumbing in it, then man, you just had yourself a payday. So yeah, urban mining is alive and well in this country, and I think we'll start seeing more crimes that are targeted towards things like jewelry and precious metals. So Dex, do you want to talk backwardation? Then we have a caller from Texas. Then tell us about silver. So we'll do that in that order. Go.
Okay, basically, when we talk about backwardation, it relates to the futures contracts and the contract's time to expire. So basically, what you're saying is that when let's take silver for example. What you're saying is that right now the price today is higher than it is going to be in the future. So if you were short today, you would hold it and roll it over to the next contract because in the future the price is going to be lower. So that's basically what it's saying. So in a nutshell, you're saying that as the contract approaches expiration, the futures contract will trade at a higher price as compared to when the contract was further away from expiration. That's basically what it's saying.
And that's a very bullish sign, correct? That's very, very bullish for whatever is trading in backwardation.
So basically it's a situation that you're seeing in the silver market right now. But here's the thing, though. When you think about backwardation and you talk about, contango and all that, it just flip-flops. It's just fancy words for talking about the futures price of a commodity, okay? So when the futures price is above the expected future spot price, that's when we talk about a contango, okay, which is the opposite of backwardation. So that's basically what that means. But the bottom line is this. It means nothing if you're not invested or you don't have some vested interest in the commodity. In this case, we're talking about silver and gold. There is much to talk about as far as people being invested in it. And the situation is this. The large institutions have now positioned themselves in a big way. You have producers and you have users. Those individuals who make their living off of using the precious metals, whether it be for industrial purposes or what have you, they've entered into some pretty sizable contracts, and they've put on some very, very huge hedges. Word on the street is that some of these hedges are like 10 times greater than the actual supply of the metal on the planet, okay? Which means that they have a vested interest in seeing the price go a lot higher than where it is today. They have a huge vested interest in that, okay? So, when these large institutions get involved in a market, they don't aim to lose, and they don't lose. They're going to get their money. They're going to make their money. Now, I always talk about in the trading room, you can't trade off of fundamentals. You trade off the technicals, and the price action will tell you what you need to do. Well, being that said, when the big players enter a market, you better believe that it is in play. So I'm here to say that silver is now in play. It managed to close outside of the bullish Kumo cloud, and now we stayed above the cloud again today. So the market is gearing up for a very, very big move. Now, I will say this. Unfortunately, we do have a problem. And the problem that we have is that we know that there's still a lot of speculation in the market as well as a lot of institutional interest in the market. So there's going to be a clash in the short term, and we need to see where we go from here. It's still a possibility that we could fail here, and if we fail here, we're going to get back into the Kumo cloud, and we're going to break below the Kumo support, and that'll take us to the long-term trend line around $23 an ounce for the silver, which is pretty devastating, being that we're here above 30 right now. That's a
well, yeah, but it's a long-term trend line. I mean, there's a lot of people who are, $23 is still a hefty profit. Some people are in this at $4 an ounce. So I've had Mark holding for a little bit, and he's got a question for you, Dex. So can we grab this caller?
Sure.
Okay, Mark from Houston, are you there?
Are you okay?
Oh, I just caught the okay. Say it again.
Are you reading me okay?
I'm reading you loud and clear now. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Okay, great, guys. First of all, I love you guys, and I got two questions. Number one, my family has a fairly large estate. I think almost all of it's in municipal bonds. What have I got to watch out for there? Maybe how hard should I lean on them to try to get out of it? Second of all, what is the Kumo cloud? How do you spell it? How can I research it? And what Dex is saying tonight, how does that tie into what the guy said last night? You want to run it down for me about the...
Very good. We'll get to both of them. Before you answer anything, Dex, I want to make it really, really clear for Dex and myself. Neither one of us are financial advisors. We're going to give you our opinion, or maybe what we would do, but we are not trying to offer you any kind of financial advice. Dex, do you want to handle the Kumo cloud? What is it and how you look it up? The muni bond thing. Look, the municipal bonds are the next subprime. I mean, these states are losing money, counties are losing money, cities are losing money. Will the government step in and allow the Federal Reserve, or will the Federal Reserve, dictate to the government what they're going to do and bail out muni bonds? Who knows? I certainly don't feel confident that that these muni bonds are going to be worth the paper they're written on in the coming years. But again, that's my opinion. I think that the Federal Reserve or there'll be enough political pressure for the government to step up and start bailing out municipalities. I just don't, it's like the stock market. You can make a lot of money in it right now. I don't want to dabble in it because I'm not a professional trader like Dex. So they terrify me. I mean, if I can hold it in my hand, if I can bury it in the ground, I like it. Besides that, if it's Wall Street involved, if it's a bond salesman involved, a slickster tin siding salesman, I don't want anything to do with it. Dex, what are your thoughts? And then explain the Kumo cloud.
All right. I think that you summed the bond thing up pretty well. But first and foremost, because I am not a licensed associated person with the NFA or the CFTC or the SEC, technically speaking, I don't know what I'm talking about. So we must preface it with that. According to the law, since I don't have my licenses anymore, I let them expire, I technically don't know what I'm talking about. So you want to seek a financial advisor. But my opinion is this. Anything that has to do with bonds, I would have been liquidated a long time ago. Bonds are not a safe place to be right now. And that's just the bottom line. Every bond chart you look up and pull up is in a super bear market, and there is no bottom. And the reason for that is because the Federal Reserve needs to be in a position to raise interest rates, and they're doing it on the sly right now. But pretty soon it's gonna raise its head to the masses, and then people will know. But I'll say this. If you're in a situation that you are uncomfortable with your holdings, it's probably best you seek professional advice on it and figure out how you can cash out. As far as
Dex,
the Ichimoku part of technical analysis, you can Google that and find a plethora of information on it. I use it as far as just to help my charts to be organized so I can see as I do my videos and things like that. And I like it as far as a charting application. And it's just the best that I've found in my research. I didn't create it. It goes way back to some Japanese businessman, like back in the 1940s or something like that, who came up with it. But bottom line is it's a trending methodology. It looks at long-term trends and things like that. So that's what that is when you hear me say Kumo cloud. Basically, the rules of the cloud are that if prices are trading within that cloud, that price band, it means the market's consolidated and hasn't yet made up its mind what direction it wants to take. So you need to wait for confirmed closes outside of the cloud, either up or down. And I do discuss that in my videos. So,
Mark, and I would say that your best advice is to rely on yourself. I've sat across from bankers recently trying to entice our company into getting into the RMB, the yuan. This is the absolute. They wanted us to trade in Chinese currency, and what they really wanted to do was sell us on buying a bunch of foreign currency. This is when the dollar is at a multi-year or near multi-year lows. The Chinese government has allowed their currency to raise slightly. It'd be an absolutely horrible deal for us, yet you'll have a banker or a financial advisor sit across from you and tell you exactly what they want to sell you, is my opinion on that. So I would say, do your own research and take care of yourself, because, just about everybody. Here's the deal. Dex isn't an advisor, neither am I. You can do what you want to do, but think of it this way. Who's willing to talk to you about these situations that you have for free? Dex is putting out his information for free. I'm reporting what's going on in the economic world for absolutely free. I have nothing to gain by steering you into metal or steering you out of munis or whatever. My advice is rely on yourself when it comes to financial matters. Most people can certainly handle their own.
Okay. I've been going about that two different ways, but how do I find Dex's YouTube channel? I've been digging for it.
Okay, let me give you that. Matter of fact, I'll put a link into the room here in the next 5 minutes. It's a pulsescan 72, PULSESCAN, the number 7, the number 2. Just go to YouTube and type that in the search bar, and you will be led right to his videos. And then subscribe to him, and he puts out a video every day, it seems like, or nearly every day, tracking all types of things. Right now, it's been heavy in the commodities, but you know, that's what I said. Go ahead, Mark. What?
I got that. That was an important piece of information. But I'm going at this a couple of different ways. I've been steadily buying silver up. I bought some at 30 yesterday. Probably a little too high, but I think this will be okay. I've also been buying the rare numismatic coin just because if interest rates go high, I think that's a winner. So I'm going at it with those two different strategies there. And other than that, I don't really know what to do, but it sure is great information, you guys. I'm heavy into alternative media. I listen to it like all the time. And once you do, you know, you're different. You're out of the matrix. So I hope you guys can relate to that. With that said,
I know what you mean by trying to figure out what to do and who to talk to. You know, it is two different worlds. We all live in two different worlds. It's the world we're in right now in the alternative media, and then the world we all function in every day, where everybody has the same taglines, everybody has the same talking points, and everybody's an expert because they heard somebody on CNBC say so. You have that is the matrix, and we are outside of it here. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Mark, thank you very much for the call. I'm gonna. Pardon me?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Dex, I want to talk. We got about 10 minutes left. Give me what you think's what's happening. I mean, you know, you called this. We were going to see a consolidation, maybe down to 23. I think we got down to 25, and then to the moon. Is this the to the moon phase, or are we getting a little ahead of ourselves?
No, actually, it is setting up to go to the moon phase at this point, yes, because if you think about it, we're outside of the cloud now, so we're back in a position to start trending again. And it should be, from here, we should be able to hit that $32 to $35 threshold within the next probably 30 to 60 days. If we can stay outside of this cloud, that's exactly where we're going. But as I warned people before, I would not be trying to short the precious metals right now. There's too many big players in that market now, and they're going to bid it up, and we're going to have gap up days that are going to make your jaw just drop to the ground. I mean, I'm believing that we're going to start seeing silver jump like $1 or $2 right on the open. And I think you're going to start seeing like $60 moves in gold. Seriously, it's going to get really just amazing what you're going to see these markets doing. Same thing with the commodities. I mean, today corn opened up 30 cents on the open. That's amazing. That's like the Dow gapping up 300 points on the open. So that's a big deal. You're going to start seeing more days like that. I want to take the time we got left. Can I just speak my mind for a minute?
Go for it.
I did a video a while back saying watch who you listen to. You know, you need to verify things. You don't just take what people say at face value. You need to do your homework and use a little bit of common sense. So I just wanted to tell everyone who's listening to the show, please use some common sense and watch out for the fear-mongering. When you start seeing fear-mongering even in the mainstream media and then it starts to filter down into the alternative media, that means that there's some type of psyop operation going on at the moment. Right now, everyone's talking about this March the 15th or March whatever, and pole shifts and all that stuff. Let me explain something to you. All right, there's no Ides of March coming. Just like there's no crash coming. Everyone keeps talking about the market crash. There's no crash coming. How many times does the government have to hurt people in order to get them to listen? Every time some bearish person on the market comes out, oh, it's about to crash, and they short, they get their accounts blown out. Okay, that's messed up. So I'm trying to calm people down. There's no reason to panic about anything. And just like I said, you know, I had to correct the J.P. Morgan thing, you know. J.P. Morgan is not in trouble like that. They are part of the system. That's why the market failed like it did, so they could take profit, get out, reverse those shorts, and go long. Okay? So now J.P. Morgan announces that, you know, they're going to take gold for collateral now. However, they're not going to take their own ETFs that are supposed to be backed by precious metals. So, you know, head scratch, right? So anyway, the bottom line is, you know, don't go for all the fear mongering. There's nothing happening in March, all right? And even if it does, that's not the big event anyway. And you know, everyone's talking about this meteor or comet, whatever this coming in March and all this thing, and Nibiru and all that. People just don't get it, man. When an event like that is going to happen, there's no warning and there's no notice, okay? Now, an asteroid coming to the Earth or a comet, yeah, you know, you don't need to be a rocket scientist necessarily to see that with a nice piece of equipment like a telescope. But when it comes to pole shifting and things like that, you know, magnetic due north, yeah, it's moved the most that it's moved in some time. Yeah, that's true. But that's not the event. And people need to get a grip and prepare for what is happening. And what is happening is inflation is raising its ugly head in our everyday life now. The cost of food is going to go up exponentially. I just told you corn gapped up 30 cents from the open today. Soybeans and corn and wheat are trading at prices that I have never seen. And I've been doing this for a long time. They're trading at prices that I have never seen. We're hitting contract highs in everything, even cotton, even sugar, everything, things that we need. These are staples, okay? And as far as the dollar devaluation thing, you know, again, I've explained this. Fiat currencies don't die because they're not worth anything anyway. You can't devalue something that doesn't have any value to start with. The U.S. dollar is not devaluing because it doesn't have value. It never had value. It's a piece of paper. It's fibers and ink. That's all it is. There's no intrinsic value in a fiat currency. Now, gold and silver, on the other hand, or vegetables or tomato, they have intrinsic value, okay? They're commodities, all right? Fiat currency does not. So forget about this dollar devaluation. All that stuff is, again, that's more hype and fear-mongering. It has nothing to do with nothing. They can come out tomorrow and fix that and say the dollar is worth $2 now. They can do whatever they want to do. They can roll out a new currency anytime they want. You know, it's not about the dollar and doing away with the dollar. That's what they want people to focus on. The truth is what is going on behind the story. Behind the story is a mad rush now for total control of natural resources on the planet. That's what's going on behind the scenes. A consolidation of power, a consolidation of natural resources. They're coming for our food and our water. That's what they're coming for. And they've been gunning for this oil for a long time, too, because they know that the sources that they get their oil and stuff from is in jeopardy. That's what this is about, okay? So the bottom line is what people need to do is prepare for what is already here, not what's coming. What's here is no jobs. So it doesn't matter if the dollar is devalued or not devalued or whatever. If you don't have a job and you have no source of income, how are you going to eat regardless of what the price is?
Well, and most people, Dex, aren't even looking whatsoever, and not in this community, obviously, but in the so-called sheeple. They don't know that the average Egyptian is paying up to 80% of his income to buy food. Well, the same increases that have caused, the reason this has happened is because of the attempt to try to inflate the stock market, period, to recover some of the value, so-called value in these assets. And this same phenomenon is coming here. It has to come here. There's no choice. And it isn't like we don't see the signs everywhere. 100%, 114% increase in wheat in the last year. Name your commodity. You even said today the corn opened at the same equivalent level of 300 points on the Dow. I mean, this food and energy, 1.7% inflation rate is what Lord Ben Bernanke is out touting right now. And this is an inflation rate that takes out the cost of food and energy. So it's like, just because this person comes out and says we only have 1.7% on inflation rate, we're going to continue with QE2, and we'll even do more than that if we want to, if we feel that our yacht club buddies' assets aren't valued at the right amount. And we're going to exclude your food and the energy you need. Well, when it's 90% of what you spend, as it is in some nations, and as it could be here, well, you better start paying attention to that. But unfortunately, there is a lot of distractions. There's a lot of, web bots are saying this or, this prediction, that prediction. But you're right. Now is the time to do something about right now.
Everybody's so concerned about the future, Charlie. I'm not dissing the web bots and all this other stuff. All I'm saying is this. So what? What difference does it make? Okay, fine. Tomorrow the world's going to explode and we all die. Okay, so, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Everyone's focusing on the wrong thing. What you need to focus on is not the end of the world. What you need to focus on is how you're going to live in the world for the next 10, 20 years. That's what you need to focus on. Focus on staying here and not going nowhere. Focus on the planet not going nowhere. Regardless of what the situation is, focus on that. And then you start from there. Not thinking about, these doomsday scenarios. Because, you know what? There's nothing you can do about a doomsday scenario. What are you going to do? Well, okay, so... Okay, he's got to use.
We're done, Dex. We got don't get into a big long rant because you got about 30 seconds and it's going to shut us down. Dex, thanks for coming on early. Thanks for your insight. Again, after spending 13 quality minutes, I have a newfound respect for your intellect and your guidance that you give away for absolutely free. pulsescan 72 on YouTube. Please check him out if you haven't subscribed to him. Do so. It's well worth the free information you're going to get, and a whole lot more than that. Please stay tuned because Jeff Rentz is coming up next. Tomorrow night we're going to have DimCAD. Friday we're going to have Eric Lovely. Monday will be Warren again. We'll see everybody tomorrow night at the same time. Have a great night.
Watching at the end of the day, both scared and angry, like, what did he say?